Are you ready for the ultimate bikepacking weekend adventure? Join us for an unforgettable self-supported bikepacking trip through Southwest Virginia. The Grayson Gravel Pie Bikepacking Adventure travels along the Virginia Creeper Trail, the beautiful gravel roads of Grayson County, Virginia, and the New River Trail. All lodging and camping arrangements are included, along with daily routes and guides riding along with you. This self-supported adventure offers resupply opportunities every 20 miles for your food and water needs. Find out more at graveltraveldirt.com.
You're listening to Mid-Atlantic Gravel, Travel, and Dirt.
Hi, everybody. I'm Brian.
I'm Joey.
And I'm Mike.
Folks, this is episode 235 of Mid-Atlantic Gravel, Travel, and Dirt. If you're new here, this is a podcast where we talk about gravel bikes, adventure biking, bikepacking, bike camping, or just playing bikes. What were you doing over there, Joey?
I just had my first sip of real chocolate milk in years. A second ago.
So how long before that becomes a problem for you? Like, what's the countdown clock? Should I have started the...
We're just trying stuff out.
Okay. That gets a lot of people in a lot of trouble. Joining us this episode, Michael Bridges from, it's Beaufort or Beaufort, North Carolina?
It's Beaufort, North Carolina, and Beaufort, South Carolina.
I knew one was one way and the other, I know they were different, but I can never remember which one.
Spelled exactly the same.
Spelled exactly the same. Yep. Beautiful part of the country. Absolutely gorgeous down there.
It's okay.
Gorgeous. But you
formerly from St. Michael's, Maryland.
I was going to say, you come to us actually via Beaufort, but it's from St. Michael's.
I'm a shore Billy originally.
Nice.
Quick question. Jess wanted to know, my wife, are you anything related to the Bridges Auto in St. Michael?
Yes. Yeah, those guys are, that whole clan of family is 15 minutes from my family. They're like cousins of some sort.
Nice.
But apparently there was bad blood back in the day.
Oh.
It's this whole story about great grandfather type brother drama that they never talked, and we grew up really close to them, and they had the same last name in a really small town, and we never celebrated any holidays or anything with them. So
that's too bad.
Well, sorry, I didn't mean to bring that up.
The beef continues.
Shore life,
yeah. I think you're the type of person, maybe you could go mend some bridges.
Yeah. But I actually remember the story of my dad saying that his grandfather said if he could build a bridge over that town, he would.
Oh. Ouch.
So they could go both ways.
Okay. Well, what we're going to talk about tonight has nothing to do with the feudal things going on over
Eastern Shore is known for chicken, but there's definitely
Eastern Shore drama.
We're going to talk about Outsiders BC, Croatan Campfire, and what happens after bad things happen on a bike ride.
It's swole scorpions.
And I got to hear the scorpion story.
Yeah.
You weren't there?
I was there.
Oh, okay.
I was there, but I want everyone else to hear it again. Before we get to all of that, though, check out the show notes for our most current discount codes from folks like Cutaway, JoJ, Salt Stick, and Orange Mud. That's all we got to say about that. Joey, do you want to? Have you had anything happen in the shop this week that you wanted to talk about? We're going to talk a lot.
I've been gone since Friday.
Yeah, we're going to talk a lot about Croatan Campfire.
And I came back to... Actually, everyone did a pretty good job when I was gone.
So your phone wasn't going off like Larry's was.
Oh, no.
Every 15 minutes, poor Larry's phone was ringing. You wanted to jump right into Strava Club then?
Yeah, let's see. Kelly Riley from Wilmington, Delaware, with 172.4. Patrick Donahue from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, with 106.1. And Eli Orth from Cincinnati, Ohio, with 128.8. Top 100 was only 90.1 miles, and we're up to 905 Strava members, and that's Strava.com/clubs/gravel travel dirt, or like most people, just hit the search button in Strava.
So I don't remember the number being that low, 90 miles.
I might have had a shot at that if I actually rode my bike.
No, I don't remember it being that low.
It's been a long time since maybe February.
Okay, I feel like that seems really, really low. Anyway, doesn't matter. Just curious.
There's no crack of the week. What's everyone drinking?
What you got over there, Michael?
I got some original sin hard cider.
Mm.
I-
Hard cider.
Yeah, I
That's
don't
what
know.
you were talking
Yeah.
about.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I haven't had a good hard cider in a while. It's that time of year though, too.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just, that'd be good. That would go down real nice.
A really good thing I used to like to do. I just haven't had cider in a year, but you go get that. What's that store bought moonshine, moonlight or whatever? What is it called?
Yeah, when they put the fruit in it, like they put the cherries
but
in
you
it.
get the apple pie, and then you get an apple cider,
yeah.
and like a Topo Chico style bottle, and you drink the neck out of the cider, and you fill it up with apple pie moonshine.
What does that do? Just make
It's
it,
like a dessert.
like make it more potent?
Well, that
Or
too, but it's
sweetens it up?
delicious.
Okay, all
Yeah.
right. I'll try that.
Cider cocktail.
I'll try that. I could go for that. Although I don't drink a lot of moonshine. I know it's not real moonshine, but have you ever had real moonshine? Like
Oh, I've had real moonshine like out in the sticks past in Goochland, Virginia.
Yeah. It'll light you up, literally. So anyway, congratulations everybody in the Strava Club.
Yep.
Kelly, Patrick, Eli, as Joey said, if you're interested in joining the Strava Club, we would really love to break that 1,000 number. Don't know why.
And I got the right show notes. I got the right Strava club.
That's right, you did. Mid-Atlantic Gravel Travel Dirt on Strava. You'll find us. You can search it and all that kind of stuff. So let's get right to the point of what we're here for.
Campfire.
Campfire.
Well, we got three things we're hitting.
We got three things.
First one's campfire.
Let's start with Campfire. Do you want to recap your weekend at Campfire, Joey?
Oh
And
boy,
we'll just chime in.
I think we all had a little different experience.
Well, maybe we should tell the listeners what Croatan Campfire is first. So if you've been living under a rock and you don't know what Croatan Campfire is, Ridge Supply and Matt Hawkins down at home of the Croatan Buck 50 in, I guess that's considered Swansboro, North Carolina. What would that be considered? What would
It's
be
like-
the town? I don't even know.
Yeah.
What was
I
the
think,
Pelletier?
Cedar Point.
Yeah,
Cedar Point, Cape Carteret area.
Yeah,
I don't know. Matt
yeah.
always corrects me when I say it. 'cause
It's right on the
I always get it
southern
wrong.
southern edge of the Croatan National Forest. How about we just go with that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a weekend full of fun and adventure where you camp at the Speedway. You go out for a bike ride of some type in the spring. It's a bigger one in the fall. This was his first year to do a smaller one, but there was a whole other bunch of other stuff wrapped around it. So that sort of sets the stage
Yeah.
for folks.
Would we have 85 people? A little smaller, more intimate.
Yeah, it felt like a mini Buck 50.
It started with Friday night was a 1 mile race.
Foot race.
Foot race, yes. A 5
under the lights
of the Speedway.
on the Speedway.
What was it? 3 laps, Michael?
Yeah, I think it was 3 for the one.
Yeah, it was a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah.
And then there was a 5K.
Which was
That
9
was
laps?
9.
9 laps.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I felt like
9
some
brutal
people did
laps.
like 20. I lost track, and I wasn't even
You guys
drinking.
were saying you're on lap 1
Oh,
still, or something like that. I remember.
I hope you didn't confuse anybody. But I didn't tell anybody on the foot race that they were going the wrong way, so I think it was okay. I think it's
And then we can get into more detail just quickly. Yeah, there's that, and then there was a cyclocross race that night. We woke up the next morning. It was pretty early because we got done really early in the day, but I think it was 50 miles total that everyone rode.
Yeah, I ended up with
Minus,
40,
I was
49.
like the only person that didn't.
Yeah,
finish.
49-ish.
And then we wrapped up by like 1 o'clock with awards. And then in the evening, it kicked off a little campfire marshmallow thing, and then you camped and then went home.
Yeah.
And then we can all go into little details of all the extra stuff, but that was a kind of a gist of it.
Okay. So we drove down Friday.
Yep.
And we played Leapfrog. I just followed you down.
Yeah.
We were traveling together. It was kind of fun.
Yeah.
We would normally drive down together. So the problem when then everybody gets a rooftop tent is that everybody then has to drive their own vehicle
Yeah.
to things like this. So I should have just like slept in yours with you.
That was okay. It sounds good. Maybe I want one of those little. Do you have one of those, Michael? Those pop-up trailers?
I do. I didn't bring it down this time though.
That's like the perfect Croatan setup for a couple
Yeah.
nights.
Yeah, it
Two
is.
people.
Yeah, it
It
is.
is. You get like a
Um,
king size bed. And
Yeah.
all that.
Ugh,
I say I don't want to tow that for 6 hours.
that was a long way.
Yeah, I can
but,
see that. I've
um,
taken mine up to mountains of Virginia before and like white knuckled the whole time, even though it's been fine.
It's that thing, spring and fall, is. I don't know why people don't spend the night both nights. Or
I know.
I don't either. I can't understand why it empties out on the second night.
so like $150, and this past weekend it was the Outsiders, and then we had our own little mini camp,
Mhm.
and that's how it was in the spring. We had our own. We had actually a decent sized little group over there, and then Michael and the Outsiders were on their side, and like everyone else left.
Everyone just like bailed out and went back to their hotels or to their schwanky beachfront condos and houses. And
I don't know how it's like the hardest event to beat as far as like you can wake up if you want food. There's moonshiners, there's other people cooking.
Mhm.
You have shower houses. There's hot water. You're
Everything you
in a
need.
freaking Speedway.
It's everything you need. What else would you possibly need? Now, Michael, Outsiders always has a huge presence at all the Croatan events. So when did you roll in for the weekend?
I got there on Friday about 3 or 4 p.m. because it's about 30-minute drive from me.
Okay.
And some of the other guys, like Ian and those guys, came from Virginia Beach, and I think they had most of them had the day off, and they various times they rolled in. So we had a couple guys from Raleigh as well. So
Nice.
you're a sorted pack for arrival times.
So packet pickup was in the afternoon.
Yep, moonshiners.
And then what we did is we dropped your car off, and then we went out and got some barbecue.
Yep.
For dinner, and then came back. We came back just in time for all the festivities, I think, to begin to kick off.
Yeah.
So the 1 mile foot race was a bunch of kids and a family, wasn't it? That's how that played out?
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
That was
my
really
two
cool.
boys and my 2 sons, 9 and 14-year-old, and then there was a family of I believe, I can't remember her first name, but it was Reed, that she owns a coffee shop in Moorhead. Really good
nice.
coffee.
Nice.
I mean, everyone that ran did awesome. Your oldest son just like
Smoked it.
it's like, wow.
Yeah, he was gone. He was really bummed he didn't get to race me, but I was okay with that.
He was fine. He did. Both of them did so good. Everyone
Yeah.
did good. The whole family finished together.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I think Matt's onto
awesome.
something with
Totally.
doing that kind of stuff the night before. I mean, it wasn't.
Runners are freaks. I bet next year he can get a few hundred people out for a
Oh, yeah.
5K.
Oh yeah. Like
They will run for anything.
And I'm going to bet you that if he had some runners that showed up that then spent the night and camped and watched the activities of, I think you'd have some of those converted to.
You just have some bleed over. Yeah.
Yeah.
And vice versa.
But you got to have like a separate category. We talked about this with Matt, me, and Ian. We're like,
Mm-hmm.
if you camp there, you're in a different category than the people that are, staying in their hotels and stuff, because there's just a little bit of added things that go on when you camp there. Experiences.
I'm not sure how much of that we could actually talk about without getting mad.
We don't talk about it. We can't give away the secrets.
That might be. We'll have an episode 2 on our OnlyFans. GTDOF.
Yeah.
Tune in. The spicy side of Gravel Travel Dirt.
But everything as a whole Friday night was so much fun.
Oh yeah. And then the 5K. No, Michael, you ran the 5K, right?
Yeah.
And there was probably about 20, 25 people that ran the 5K.
It was something like that. Yeah, that was a good group.
Yeah. And under the lights and on the track, and I bet you that was kind of a cool thing with all the people.
It was.
We were heavy cheering. Was there as much
Yeah, you
cheering
guys
on the
were.
front side as there was going on the back side?
No, it was
Oh,
pretty.
we were
other
trying
than
to-
the music that was there, but it was, you guys had it going on. It was something to look forward to coming around that corner.
Nice.
I figured it was the dead side.
Although
There's
I
only-
never got a beer hand up, because I heard that there were several beer hand ups there, and
I don't know how you didn't. I don't know. So Ashley was there, and Ashley went
yeah.
over and grabbed his beer cooler. We'll give credit where credit is due.
Yeah.
It was not Joey or I that had
Nope.
ideas. Ashley, like, all of a sudden appeared with it. He had these Miller Lights, and he's just holding them out. So we jumped on board, started telling people to grab their hand up, and we had a lot of takers.
Oh yeah.
A lot of takers.
nice.
Joey was blasting some Van Halen,
A little bit of everything.
Yeah.
I wanted.
little Neil Diamond. I don't know where
think
that came
the
from.
one lap Ian did not look happy. I had Neil Diamond on it, and that did not help. But I don't know. I'm always afraid to heckle people. Like I never know
I'm
who
not.
to say
Wrong
things
way.
to, and I can get into it. I mean, just like Matt having me announce probably wasn't the best idea a couple years ago, but
I'm sure you did fine.
it's still fun.
Yeah, I'm sure you did fine.
Wow, you did great.
But everyone crushed the run.
Oh yeah.
That wrapped up pretty quick. I mean, Lars just looked like he was floating out there.
Yeah, I mean,
Lars
It was fun
Yeah,
watching
he
him.
was just dogging everybody out there. Like
I think the hair helps.
Yeah.
There's
does.
lift and there's like arrow. So like the hair
Mhm.
comes up and then there's like a little bit of lift and a forward momentum and it's
Yeah.
it's a steamroller kind of a thing. You know, the hair just
Yeah.
picked it, and he was doing circles, and I think he did like 4 or 5 extra laps.
Yeah, he definitely had a beer
Yeah.
for a lap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. How was the 5K for you?
It was good. I mean, it was good. It was the first time running competitively since the accident, and or doing anything in that nature. So, which I'm sure we'll get into later. But I felt good, and it was like good to be around people and good solid people. And I think that's what the weekend's all about. It's about
Nice.
the environment and all that. So
Yeah.
it was really cool seeing everybody when you're running around, and you guys on one side, my family on the other, and then Matt. So yeah, it was awesome. I thought that it was going to suck doing the amount of laps you had to do around that track, but it seemed to kind of just like anything with running. Like, I'm not a fan of running, period, but it wasn't bad. I dug it. I could see in the future them adding like you come out of the track into something and then coming and finishing a couple laps in the track would be cool
Oh,
for
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Ooh, that would.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
the place that you guys went down and did your little party pace ride could
Oh,
actually
yeah.
be a good
Yeah.
little addition onto the running.
Tony,
thing.
gravel running is the next big thing.
Well, I mean, they already do it.
Gravel
Gravel Worlds does it.
True.
Mid South does it.
I mean, like in general, like gravel bikes took off. They have
Yeah.
gravel shoes.
Imagine like Sector 4 or like
Oh,
what is the other one?
old Savage Road.
Savage Road.
Oh,
Isn't it one of those Warrior Dash things?
oh yeah, it's kind of like that,
Yeah.
wouldn't it be? That would be
Yeah.
brutal. Oh,
Well, like the cool thing about that is like I'm not a runner,
Mm.
and Jess hopefully never listens to this episode. But like, if I were to ever want to do a 5K in the next year, I'd wait and do it at the campfire next year.
okay.
Yeah, there you go. Plenty of time to prepare.
So it's you can get some bleed over.
Yeah, I think he could. I think he could easily. I think if you want to blow that side up, but I know he doesn't want. I was talking to Matt about the objectives for Campfire, and he does not want it to become another $150.
No.
He doesn't
Mhm.
want that size. He wants to kind of keep it smaller and a little more intimate, and so we could probably import some runners and then make them leave.
We can get a local running club out there for the night and then come back out.
No,
You got to go now.
your job is done here. Goodbye.
Forever stage, you're welcome. We got to do bike stuff now.
Okay, so 5K's over. We dive right into a
Mini cyclocross race.
little mini cyclocross race. It was a 20-minute plus 1 lap cyclocross. Now, I'm not a big cyclocross person, Joe. Is that a typical cyclocross type of fashion for that to work, or is that unusual? Or
Yeah, I mean, usually races are like an hour long,
oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
maybe 45 minutes for a juniors field or something. But yeah, they're about an hour long of like heart rate at about 190.
Wow. Okay. Well, so when the cyclocross kicked off, how many? There were a lot of cyclocross riders too.
Just as many, maybe
Yeah.
20.
20, 25, probably that same number.
The perfect amount of field for how big that course was.
Yeah. 'Cause
Yeah.
It did spread out. It spread out.
Yeah.
So they started with a lap around the track. And then this is what boggled my mind, because I thought people were pulling my leg when they said they were going to go up the stairs and over the bridge that goes across the racetrack and then back down those stairs. Because that seems super sketch to me. That seemed really like somebody's day was going to, or weekend was going to end early. But I don't think anybody went down on that. Maybe just everybody was
Not on that.
Yeah.
On that.
And then there was a chute that they went down back over to where Moonshiners was, and
That was the outsider shoot.
outsider chute.
That was,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
the alley.
And then you would pop back out of that and go through some chicanes, some little wiggly jiggly puzzle pieces, and then pop out. And then you didn't do a lap on the track anymore. You went straight back to the bridge though,
Yeah, a little asphalt straight away.
and up and over it. I'm not a cross person. I've never really been. I've seen them like YouTube videos and stuff like that, but never been to one. Is the vibe like that?
You have, you got like, the outsider's alley. You got that going on. You got people all randomly out yelling and heckling. You got random things, hills and stuff you're going on. It was just like it was a mini shrunken down little course. Could
Okay.
use a little sand in there, but
Okay.
Yeah.
Next year I probably would love to bring my chainsaw.
Just run around with your
That's like a real thing. And then you just take the bar
I
off.
was wondering where you're going with that.
Where he's going.
You get
cut
more people.
something
That
down,
it's
or-
not awkward, and there's like 20 people cheering. One person has a chainsaw.
So that's actually worse than me telling people they're going the wrong way. So, okay. Yeah. You running around with people with a chainsaw is probably worse than.
I have seen some ginormous parties at cyclocross races. It's awesome.
Well,
People in trees, like everything going on.
I did not know that the heckling thing was a part of it.
Oh yeah.
And Matt was like, okay, I want you guys over here heckling. And we are like, where should we go to do that? And then I was like, well, what kind of stuff should we say? And then somebody threw out the bright idea to Brian to tell people they were going the wrong direction. And so I don't know who it was somebody who was very early.
That's someone in the Outsiders, Michael?
It was Sam. Yeah, it was Sam.
Well,
Yeah, I heard about it afterwards. I didn't see it.
I apologized after everything was all said and done because I was like, I feel like I got set up. Somebody set me up because Ashley comes running up behind me and he's like, maybe not on the first lap. Maybe not on the first lap.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm keeping my mouth shut for the rest of this whole thing. I just sat there and clapped. And I was like, that's all I did. I'm not doing anything, not inserting my foot in my mouth anymore.
That's got to stop you in your tracks, though. I mean, it's the ultimate. You're going the wrong way, and you're like,
Oh, slammed on his brakes.
He slammed on his brakes and stopped. And then my immediate reaction was, I was like, well, if people are doing cyclocross and you're supposed to do this, I would think that everybody out there would know that was coming. And obviously that didn't happen that way. So and my immediate gut was, oh my God, I just caused a giant pile up. He stopped coming out of this thing. And all of a sudden these people are just going to start smashing into the back and pile up like you see in the YouTube videos. And then it's all my fault. And then we get canceled, Joey. I would get canceled. You could go on without me.
Oh yeah.
Just go on
I
without
wasn't
me.
associated with you.
I was just glad it was your guys, and not our guys that did it, because I heard that somebody had did it, and I was like, tell me that wasn't one of our guys. So and then I think I heard you on Saturday talk about it, and I was like, shh.
Yeah.
I mean, I was like, say stuff like, you got a flat tire, your chain fall off, you're going the wrong way, and I did not think you would do it so fast.
What else are you going to do? That was the only thing I heard was to tell people to go in the wrong way.
I mean, let them get a lap in where they know they are, but anyway, that finished up Friday night. That was pretty good. We didn't stay up. I don't know if you guys went to bed super early and did nothing on Friday night on the Outsider side.
I know that the Outsiders were very tame on Friday night. There was nothing happening.
Right to bed right after the race.
Yeah, no.
Tucked each other in. And
no nonsense. Oh, no nonsense. Again, tune into the spicy OnlyFans version.
Spicy edition.
So Saturday, I woke up normal time, 5 a.m., slept great, and then was like, I'll go back to sleep. And then I slept till like 7:30. I was like, oh shit. And then luckily Moonshiners was there because I didn't get my breakfast ready.
Yeah, but that was a part of your problem.
Yeah.
You ate too much fried food for Moonshiners.
So my Saturday story really quick was, because we all have 3 different perspectives of Saturday. I actually slept past 5 o'clock, which was great for the first time in ever. We go in the Moonshiners. The lady asked me like 3 times if I actually wanted 2 orders of hash browns, and I'm coming off the stomach flu. Like pretty fresh off the stomach flu, ready to eat Whole Foods. I was like, no, I got to eat. Like it's already 7:30. It's going to be almost 50 miles today. And I ate that and a sandwich. Probably should have taken a Tums or something, but because we went out pretty hot.
Yeah, there was no. It may have been a neutral, but it was a very, very hot neutral.
Yeah, because we were booking, and for a while I felt really good.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, this is actually isn't going to be bad if we stay together. We were doing 18.
Yeah.
And then I hit a certain point right before we went past the aid station for the first time, and I started dropping off of you guys a little bit from the front of the pack.
Well, I don't know where. I don't really know how we or when we dropped you.
I know it was on the asphalt. I saw you guys pulling away a little bit.
Yeah, because you were still. I knew you were still with us there.
Yeah, and I caught a smaller group, and we were still going. It was like a couple ladies, a couple guys. They were a little bit older. They weren't as fun to talk to, I'll tell you that. and then I just like acid reflux, and I don't know what it was, indigestion. I felt queasy,
Mm.
and then I got into the forest, and
Did you give the hash browns back?
yes, the lady was right.
You returned the hash browns to the land.
Yeah, so I definitely slowed down a lot. I came back around.
Were you at least able to stop?
Oh yeah, I stopped.
Okay. I was wondering about
no,
that.
At that point, I'm like, no, I'm all alone.
Would have been
I think
badass.
Matt was behind me, and Matt saw me.
Would have been badass if you just kept running. Like, yeah, dig it.
Yeah, no, I wish, because Matt was coming up behind on the moped, and I just stopped and pulled over and spewed. And I came back around and saw Michael at the little aid station thing, and there's a couple people there, and it was like starting to rain and mist. And I was like, I need a couple Oreos or something to get in my body. That's when I told you, Michael, that I was like, yeah, I saw my breakfast again. I'm kind of done.
Oh, God.
So I finished up. I rode that. I rode out a little bit more. I still got like 30 miles. I was pretty happy. I got back.
Mhm.
I rode back kind of casually.
Mhm.
But right before I finished on the timing mat, probably the top 15 came blowing by me, which was cool. I got to take a couple of videos.
Got to see that. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Um,
That's one of the things I liked about the smaller loop.
Yeah.
It was really cool to like see people.
Yeah.
Like I felt like you were, and it wasn't like, how on Buck 50, Mike, how on Buck 50, it's like you're doing that out and back thing, and there's those points where it's like all of a sudden there's people going both directions, and it's a little sketch, especially if you do it meet somebody up on the single track or in the cornfield or one of those really tight places. It can get a little sketch. I loved
you
that.
can get left alone for like what seems like eternity in the woods.
Yeah.
Where you contemplate like starting a new life in the woods, like
Me and
making a little
Catfish Lake
shack
Road.
back there and like guess this is where I live now.
There's probably a bunch of abandoned campers back in there if I had to
oh,
guess.
yeah. You probably really get
find
to
one.
that place. I did get through right in the middle of Sector 4. There was a lot of dogs, like probably within like 100 yards or two in the woods from me.
Yeah, they were hunting deer.
I didn't know the hunting style down there until Matt explained it.
Yeah.
With them flushing, and I didn't understand the chairs on top of all the trucks until we got out of the
I mean,
woods.
there was like a desk chair on the back of
So-
a Tundra.
Matt told me I saw like 5 cars with like chairs up on top of like the dog crates and stuff.
Mhm.
And Matt said they'll send the dogs through the woods on one side of the road. They'll drive around to the other, and they'll sit on top of their truck and shoot whatever comes out.
Whatever it is.
What, deer or bear?
Deer, bear.
Whatever.
She said they're so lazy they mount the office chairs on their trucks.
I just don't know if I would trust that, especially some of those guys that you see in there that
Oh, yeah.
like
Most of them. I know that there was
they probably don't care.
there were some trucks early I know that some people had some issues with, but I think
Yeah.
for the most part, when I had interactions with them, they were kind of okay. They didn't really like to slow down.
Yeah.
And I guess once you understand the style of what it is they're doing, if they've released their dogs on one side, and they're all on radio collars, so they can see where the dogs are.
Yeah.
At least they should be able to. I can understand them wanting to get to the other side of wherever the dogs are going to pop out quickly.
Yeah.
Or there are bear down there though, right?
Yeah, I had a customer, Paul Coppers, in the store today. He rides down there frequently.
Mhm.
He's like, yeah, I was down there recently and saw some bears fly through in the Croatan. But, I mean, I'll let Michael talk about Saturday night, but as far as riding Saturday, that was it for me. I got back to the speedway, and some of the finishers were just behind me. Like, they hauled ass.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
It was an early day.
Well, I hooked onto the Larry F. and Parrish train.
Yeah.
And Larry and I, we worked together quite a bit. We had a pretty good day. We had probably one of the better days I've had on a bike in a while.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. We never stopped. And I never even, Michael, you were the aid station on the road?
Yes.
Okay. I never did
Mhm.
quite realize that. I thought there was just a cheering section out there. I don't think I ever realized that.
There's Oreos and hydration.
Oreos and bananas.
Larry and I had talked about it, and we decided there's no stoppage. We weren't stopping. I mean, we had everything we needed. We had gummies, we had water, we had shot blocks. There was nothing required. So it was on a 40 mile hard effort. We both kind of just looked at it and went, well, we got plenty of water. As long as you got water, we're good to go.
Yep.
And so there was no intended stopping. So I guess if we'd needed it, we would have figured it out.
Yeah.
Maybe.
We had a couple trick-or-treaters, so it was good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, it was so cool.
Had some flow.
I thought you guys were just cheering, and I thought that was pretty badass. I thought that was like I thought there was like this like pop up tent, and there's like all these people there cheering and yay, go bike people. I didn't know what the hell's going on. So the way it ended up with Larry and I, we hopped on to a group probably, and I think that's Joey when we may have left you. We were on that group coming the first time we hit the road surface.
Yep.
And we stayed with that group for probably a lap and a half. And then the second entry into Sector 4, some folks in front of us decided to pop off the bikes and walk. And as soon as that happened, everybody behind that lost touch with that group. And I tried my best. To get back up on them because I could see the back end of them, and I couldn't cross the bridge. I couldn't close the gap. So we ended up kind of like Larry and I were working together with a few other people from time to time, and I think the way that it worked is I would take the lead through Sector 4, and then I'd take the lead on the hardtop, and then we'd switch out, and I'd draft off behind a Larry on the other section. So I think that's pretty even. It's about 2.5, 3 miles per piece, if I remember correctly. And Larry ended up finishing 4th in his age group in the 60s, and I ended up finishing 6th in the 50s, which is unheard of for me. And so I really think it was all about Larry.
Yeah, I'm going to tell Matt next year you need a 10-person podium.
How was the gravel out there? Was it? I heard from some people in the beginning like that you could almost do it, with like road bike type tires.
I think so. Like, if it weren't for Sector 4, and if it weren't for just a couple of very short sections and transitions between like road surfaces, I think coming out of Sector 4, you make that first sharp right to make that left. I think that was a little loose, but it's pretty doggone close that you could have done it on road tires. Yeah, and been really fast. I think you'd have given a lot of it back in Sector 4. I mean, it wasn't because Sector 4 was loose. It was just you pretty much had one line. And
that's what I heard. That was a big separator.
Yeah.
And if you straight off of that a little bit, the sand did get a little soft.
Yeah. And if you went off of that little, and a couple times it would pop out to where there'd be like a couple of different lines.
Yeah.
And I think that's because the first time we went through Sector 4, I was in front of Larry, and then it just seemed to happen again on the second time. And so coming off of that, that's when we decided. Larry was like, "Hey, you know the lines now. I'm just going to follow you through Sector 4." And I was like, "Okay." And we just kind of like went that direction. But yeah, it was super hard pack. And then it started raining a little bit.
It's kind of nice.
It actually, I think that served to kind of make it a little faster.
Kept the dust down a little bit.
It just got a little gummy, a little tacky.
Yeah.
There were a couple of spots where it was in the transitions between like one road to another where it would get a little soft. I can't remember. There was one spot where it was really bad, but bad being that you just had to be mindful of it and not take your time, but just hold your line.
Yeah,
just hold your line. Don't go getting squirrely or doing anything dumb.
Yeah. How was your morning, Michael?
It was excellent. I mean, I was tent camping right next to Lars, who had the Pine State coffee set up. Lars runs Pine State out in Raleigh. And he had, 2 massive containers of coffee that he brewed over his solo stove, or like heated the water up over his solo stove before that race. So I got woken up to that, him making that wonderful coffee. And then, just helping out, watching the crew get ready and get hyped up. And it was awesome. I mean, and the weather, I think we thought it was going to be a little bit more sunny, but it still ended up like prime.
Yeah. And
then, watching everybody get after it, from an aid station perspective was pretty cool. Like watching y'all go and, seeing everybody smile, and everybody looked like they were just having fun. So it was cool.
I think so. I had a ball. I had an absolute blast.
And that's why you camp.
Yeah.
You can wake up next to someone making
coffee.
Huge things. Thanks for the message on that, because I got that last little cup right before we left. That was delicious.
Oh yeah, on Saturday at least. Because on Sunday it was pretty cold.
Still okay on Sunday. I forgot I got beans from him at Monster Cross this year too. I've had his coffee a few times. It's delicious.
I guess it was unique riding or working an aid station on a 10-mile loop like that because you got to see everybody like multiple
Mhm.
times. That actually
Yeah, and
kind
you
of made it
could
even
like
cooler.
time the groups out, to where the front guys, um, and the group that was chasing them and try to track the distance, like how close they were getting,
Hmm.
every lap or whatever. But it was good because there was some people that definitely like needed it just to fill up their bottle or to
Mm.
grab a little something and
Yeah.
go. So
Oh yeah. It's a long ways. 40 miles. It's a long ways to
yeah,
go.
I
Yeah, I
mean,
think because you finished, everyone finished up close to 50 miles. So yeah,
It's a
pretty
long
much
day.
made it.
wow.
Yeah.
Not a short day.
No.
Not a short. It was fast. It felt like a fast day. And
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
know. I don't
it's a
know
good
what it
ride.
was that kind of made it feel like that, but it really felt like I know. I anticipated the laps feeling like they were getting longer and longer, but instead
That's
they
short.
felt like they were getting shorter and shorter, which is weird.
Mm.
You don't think that would be the case, but
Yeah.
familiarity, kind of like maybe the one had a hard time gauging the distance and when the road section ended.
It was a long road section.
Oh yeah, it
It
was.
felt like that, and I had a hard time. I kept like thinking it should be okay around that next bend. We go back into the forest. We go back into the forest, and I couldn't gauge it right.
Yeah.
Couldn't get it in my head right. So just kept going hard. Just kept going hard all the way.
Quickly, we waited after Wards went out and got some delicious lunch and got some dinner to cook.
Mm-hmm.
We had that, but I'll let Michael talk about. You guys started the evening off
Yeah. So
in outsiders fashion.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
Outsiders Campfire.
yes, definitely. So we're right before we did the s'mores piece. We held a little group ride from the racetrack. There's a road called Millis Road, I believe it's what it's called. But right from the racetrack, you can just kind of leave your camp spot, go out onto the road, but you're going not towards the main road. You're going off into, like, I guess it's still considered Croatan, but it's just fast packed gravel. And we had a couple people that had just maybe heard about it through Matt putting the word out or whatnot. So we had an eclectic group of people, which was fun, and we got to go like a party pace. Like we were just, I had on jeans, and some other people like were, in casual riding clothes. So it was good to just like soak the Croatan in for what it is, and be able to, people from out of town were able to stop and, quote unquote, smell the roses, to really appreciate like what that area is. And that was kind of the feedback that I got from that, was like, people were like, this is really cool out here. I didn't really get to, look around when I was racing. They were just kind of in the thing, and you're looking, because you know how the Croatan is, you got to be looking down at potholes and where you're going next, and
Yeah.
loose gravel or sand or people. So that was good. So after that ride, I think that ended up being like between 10 and 20. I have no idea where it was exactly, but you can kind of keep going back in there. It's kind of endless, and fun. But after that, we came back and we lined up like 3 different solo stoves, and between Ian and Matt had a bunch of s'mores, and just lined the pits with chairs. And it seemed like a lot of people that were camping came out and came over.
Yeah.
Which was cool, because then we all got to kind of talk, and, everyone got to hear some great campfire stories, if you ask me.
I love all the campfire stories were awesome. Just
there was a lot of recapping of the day too.
Yeah,
and
that
I
was
think
cool.
that's what should be.
that's what I think a lot of people who don't camp the night after either Buck 50 or now after campfire, I think that's what they miss.
Yeah.
Is that opportunity
True.
to kind of, you get there and you get to share your experience and hear other people's experience of the day. Because
Yeah.
in something like this, you just don't know what other people have been dealing with, or what they had going on, or you just don't get to hear or see that. And
Yeah, you get that sense of community too.
Yeah.
Being at the racetrack, being kind of where you're supposed to be. I have done one year where the year it actually got canceled, like the couple days before the COVID year.
Mhm. Yep.
We got a beach house that year, and we still ended up all going there because we paid the money, and we were all relatively local. But it that one wasn't an actual race, so it was cool to be at the house. But I can imagine there being a lot of FOMO too, knowing now like what happens at the racetrack when you're not racing and you're just hanging out with the friends, and you're all in doing the same thing. It's a different vibe than it is, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Being there, because
And
like
maybe
I said, you don't have to go anywhere.
And maybe that's what some people, maybe that's what they need out of the weekend. Maybe that's what they, I don't want to
Mm-hmm.
take anybody else's experience away from them. Maybe that's what they're after. But I can say this, there's some magic that happens at that racetrack.
Yeah.
I mean, how often do you get to camp inside of the infield of a racetrack and hang out with a bunch of people that love to do the same thing that you do? And
You might be pretty far gone and see a Mustang come doing a hot lap or two. You never know at like 11:30 at night. But there's some cool stuff that happens there. You never know when. Never know.
who was it in the spring? Was it y'all that did the whole reenacted the fire scene out of who did that?
Oh, that was the Wounded Warrior group.
That was the Wounded Warriors. I remember somebody did that, and I thought that was pretty funny. That felt like a
No, the Outsiders did that hot lap with the boom box. I remember seeing Michael and everyone walking around while we were hanging out.
yeah.
No, that was Cy and the Wounded Warrior people.
So all in all,
It's hard to say to not. Yeah, like the stoke is high.
oh
There
yeah,
if you
oh yeah.
can't say enough good things. I'm already
Oh,
ready
yeah.
for our March.
If that's not on your radar, if the Buck 50 in March and now the Campfire in November are not on your radar, they need to get there. I really do think so. One or the other, if not both. And I have a feeling that Campfire is going to be one that's going to kind of, especially if Matt wants to keep it small, it's going to be one that you're going to have to get in early if you want to be a part of that. I think in the future moving forward.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be the case for that. So, Michael, let's talk a little bit about Outsiders.
Yeah, no, we've heard stuff about the Outsiders. I want to hear. I want to hear like it's starting and everything.
The insider scoop on the Outsiders.
Yeah.
Well, you come to the right person. Yeah. What do you want to know? Do you want to just go right down the line?
Go right down the line. Where was the genesis? Where'd it come from? How does the magic happen?
You're not like the typical cycling club,
No.
which is the coolest thing about it.
Which is the best
Yeah,
part.
and I think it's sticking true to like the name of it. I came up with it here in Beaufort. Moved to this area from Virginia Beach, and I was just looking kind of to find my place in the world and to do something that like just to find like a group of similar individuals. And the best like tool for that at the time that I thought of was bikes. And I was into bikes like earlier on. It obviously like grew since starting the club, but that was one thing I thought that would be a pretty easy item to find. Like you get like motorcycle clubs, you got to have a motorcycle, you got to have a car for a car club, like those kinds of things. I wanted to kind of stick to the roots of kind of how early motorcycle culture was founded and started. I wanted that kind of core principles of like the guys that were coming back from war, wanting that camaraderie and brotherhood, and unable to find it, them starting the clubs up. And that was my source of inspiration was the early club culture from motorcycles. And also I've read like a ton of books about the way that goes, and I'm like, what if living in this small coastal town, if something's not there, like in a big city, you can find something, right? There's a lot of things around to do. In a small town, if it's not there that you want, just create it, just do it. And so that's what I did. And I got with a good friend of mine, Taylor Auclair. And he had never actually even rode a bike before, which is pretty ironic. And we started off kind of on beach cruisers, just riding around. And then from there progressed. like I said, we're tied with the way that the motorcycle culture was when it comes to earning patches and stuff like that. And we also wanted to take care of our community. So we would do town cleanups and community bike rides once a month. And we would get from that, like other riders. And we would also kind of take a break from the bar culture because like, at first we were kind of heavy into that where there wasn't a lot to do in the town if you're not on a boat, other than drink. So I wanted something different that, like I said, is hitting towards that community aspect as well as physical fitness and then, the community. So that's kind of where everything started. And from there, thanks to social media, I was able to keep up with my good friend Ian Robinson in Virginia Beach. He got a bike, and kind of as Beaufort was kind of slowing down, I extended the torch over to Ian, and he hit the ground running with it and started a community there as well, based on the same principles. But obviously, Virginia Beach is a little different than Beaufort when it comes to the amount of people. So that was a little, he navigated it different there in his own way. And from there, we've grown to other cities and in different areas with all that backbone of us coming from kind of finding each other on the streets and outside of our own families to, coming together for that common core of just hanging around good people and having a good time.
What cities do you have a presence in now?
So obviously Beaufort, North Carolina, Raleigh, North Carolina. We're kind of defunct out in Pisgah. We got one of my best friends is out there, so that's not really anything to say is a full presence. But obviously in Virginia Beach, in that whole area, this 7 cities area, we got guys all over that spot. Richmond, Virginia, Washington D.C., and down in Atlanta, we got a guy down there, Froggy.
Cool.
He's come up for a couple Croatan races as well.
And how many outsiders are there?
Gosh, I'd say around 20 to 30. I don't know the exact number. We got some guys that kind of just come out for club events, and we got some guys that do a lot. So total, I couldn't tell you the exact number without having to count.
No, that's cool. And you guys, you establish a big presence for a small number of clubs. I mean, I was just looking. I tried to do a little bit of my homework. I was looking at your Facebook page and looking at your Instagram, and for the club, not your stuff, but looking for the club stuff. And you see a lot of charity work and a lot of ride for this and ride for that. The footprint feels a whole lot bigger than just that number of people. So I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that kind of speaks to the type of people that we are and the type of people that we've attracted over the years is that I look at it kind of like the people that they're just kind of drawn to you, that are supposed to be around you in a way where it's not just about riding a bike and it's not about podiuming. It's like we're more of like the backyard barbecue, like
right.
that you want to be around, like your family outside of your family, like blood family. I mean,
God, every bike club needs a little bit of that.
Oh yeah,
we usually
think
shot an
so.
arm of that.
Holy cow! Well, and it's like
it just builds it. Yeah.
no matter where, like other events, like you guys just bring such a whole different vibe.
Yeah.
To
Yeah.
it could be like it could just be 6 of you at like Dirty Kitten, and having Pat there or something a couple years ago. It's like holy cow. Or even Monster Cross, and obviously the Croatan stuff. You guys have a huge appearance and footprint at.
You got a brand.
Yeah.
You got a brand. And the cool part about that is it wasn't intentional. These doesn't sound like it was intentional. It sounds like it's just like,
No.
and some of the best things in the world happen without intention,
No, it was never about like,
Yeah.
we're going to put together this team of like badass riders. It was just like, we're going to stick together like a family, and we're going to, we're going to do bike stuff and stuff to better our community and ourselves on and off the bike, physically, mentally.
What's the future look like?
Being there for each other.
What's the future look like for outsiders?
Wow. It's crazy. We just hit our 10-year last year here in Beaufort, and if you had asked me that right then at the 10 year, it would have been different than what it is right now.
Uh-huh.
But I think it's still along the same. Well, obviously, like I had a little bit of a wrench in the gears, so to say. It's put a lot of different things in perspective, but I think coming out of that, which I know I'll get into, I mean, just onward and upward with what we're doing. This was the first real race that we got together since then, and I really noticed in that, just like being around the campsite with the guys and just seeing, like, looking at the people and being like, man, if it wasn't for this club, I wouldn't know these people. I wouldn't have shared this experience with them. And so I think that we'd like to carry that on and just continue to do what we're doing through community events and through bike races and team events.
Cool.
No matter where you're at.
Yeah.
It's always. I remember Croatan a couple of years ago. I had no idea who you guys were, and it was the year I was announcing, and you guys, multiple people from the club. I was like, who are these guys wearing like vests?
I think I brought you a beer.
But you guys were like taking care of me all day without like even asking a question. And I was like, this is the coolest. That's when I first realized. Yeah,
that's what it should all be like.
Just no random person out there. Yeah, just
God,
it's cool.
Man, it's what it should always be like.
Yeah,
just should always be like that. That's cool.
Yeah.
And we've alluded to a little bit here during the course of our conversation. Let's go ahead and clue the listeners in. You had a little incident like where you went riding on the hood of a car, right?
Yeah, it's pretty. Not a lot of people know the full details of what happened, but we had a race. They call it a race, even though it's a ride. But if you were in it, you would think it was a race as well. But it's called Bike the Banks, and it happens I think it's yearly, but it's my first time doing it since 2019, because I think they took a little bit of a pause. Anyway, there's a couple hundred people from around the state and an area that come down to Emerald Isle, and you can do a 50 or 100-mile race. And I met up with a couple guys, Pat Kelly from Beaufort here, Sam, I think, actually, I don't know if Sam was actually riding it, but, and Ryan, and I got off on it. This is where the ironic part comes in, is the ride was to promote bicycle and pedestrian advocacy, to get more bike pedestrian lanes for the county. And I was 6 miles into the ride and just riding, like we were behind the main group, just riding my bike. I had Pat right behind me, and we had a big group that was behind us even. And the next thing I know, I wake up in a helicopter.
Damn.
Like, I'm just riding, and I just woke up, and I remember laying there and being like, I'm in a stretcher, and I'm like, this isn't an ambulance because it's shaking too violently. And then I started kind of thinking, and I could kind of remember, I don't know if it was like later on that day or what, but I could kind of remember seeing myself like through third person, like that out of body experience that people talk about.
Sure.
Where like I could see my face looking at my face, flying in the air, and I could kind of feel like an impact, but I couldn't hear anything, and that was all I could see, was just my face like flying with like, helmet on and glasses and everything. So what happened was, apparently somebody blew a stop sign, T-boned me. I went flying up, hit the windshield. Injuries from it was a collapsed lung, 2 broken ribs, broken finger, and a TBI. So I was out for probably 15 to 30 minutes, I would say, like unconscious.
Wow. Holy crap. Holy crap.
To the point where I think they had put like blankets over me and stuff. And Pat Kelly behind me, he was kind of in similar shape there. He hit the back door. That's how fast she was traveling. It was he hit the back door, and it was, like I said, we were both medevaced out of there. But that's the gist of what went down.
That's so scary. It's
it
just
really
so
was,
scary.
yeah.
And
something that you don't like ever. I didn't even see coming. I just had to just like accept the fact that it happened. Like you just.
And
other than
there's everybody. This can happen anytime, anywhere. It doesn't no
Mhm.
matter. It doesn't matter. There's all those things that we can do as cyclists to make ourselves more visible,
Yeah.
to make this, to make that, and you should do all of those things. But understand that what we do and the activity that we pursue as a hobby, this can just happen. You know,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
and it's not an accident. It's a crash.
Yes.
It's somebody did something wrong, and somebody else
Mhm.
paying the price.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
damn. So
Exactly.
Innocent individuals.
yeah, I don't want, and it is telling that you guys were together, you and Pat were together, and you end up on the hood and he ends up inside the car. That tells you that
There's some speed.
there was some speed because whoever the driver was did not have the time enough to even react once you're bashing into the windshield to make that car stop.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah. I think they said that like the only like actual tire tracks were from people that were riding behind us. Like,
slamming on
as far
brakes.
as
Yeah.
slamming on brakes. Yeah.
What's
It's from other
wild to
bikes.
me is like people are so impatient. Think you're going to save a little bit of time, and
I
then
know.
and hopefully you stop as a driver. Now you're like way behind everything, and all it would take is like half a second.
Yeah, it's
Patience.
it's 15
Especially
seconds.
in Emerald Isle, like in anywhere really. But I mean, when it comes to like how much time are you like literally saving? But there, it's like, what is your rush to do anything? There's no major airports, or there's no huge industry there that if you're a couple minutes late to work or something, like
Yeah,
it's
it's
not
like is it worth?
Especially in today's world.
Yeah,
You know.
I'd rather if it was I'd rather like as a boss, like someone being a few minutes late than hey, I was impatient. I took out a pedestrian.
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
So
I'm just grateful it wasn't like more people.
Yeah, and I mean it
Put the group
drastically
behind us.
changes people's lives after.
Hmm.
well, we don't want to talk. There's lots of reasons not to talk too much about the
Yeah.
actual incident. So let's fast forward.
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost anymore. I feel like that term TBI.
Mhm.
It's like cancer. Everybody knows somebody who's been impacted by it anymore. I feel like
Totally.
our family's been impacted by it. And I know the struggle that what it takes, and it's sort of a hidden thing. A lot of people don't understand that haven't dealt with it themselves or have had to deal with somebody who has dealt with it. They don't understand because you look normal. You look like, oh, they're healthy.
Yeah.
Glad they came back from that. Look at them. They're looking great.
Mhm.
And inside, you're just a hot mess.
Yeah.
I mean,
There's no other way to put it.
yeah. I mean, and I don't think a lot of people understand that. I don't
Mhm.
until you've actually had to deal with it and be up close and personal with it. I don't think you'll ever really get that. That it's just this internal struggle.
Yeah,
And it's a mess. So, you go through that, and it takes a while sometimes to even get diagnosed.
Oh yeah, they like. I'll be honest. Like they checked me out of the emergency room, and it was just like there was zero follow up with it. So like, luckily, I have like a full time physician that I go see, pretty regularly. That I was able to be like, hey, so this happened to me. What should I do?
yeah,
Because there was no like follow up plan, or anything. It was just kind of like, all right, you're good.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah.
And now, like, I mean, the amount of doctors I'm seeing now, it's crazy to think that there's nothing, to follow up from that. I guess it's just because of being in the ER or whatever. But
It's also too, I mean, it's even when you find a good neurologist, a lot of them don't even truly understand, quite frankly.
oh, there was some that wouldn't even take me because I was involved in an automobile accident.
Mm.
That they were just, and you can imagine Eastern North Carolina, there's not a lot here, period, anyway. But luckily I got through Duke Health, so in Durham, so
Good.
and they've been taking care of me, so
Good.
all good.
Good. It's a long road, and you probably still got a long road ahead of you. But how do you even begin the process of coming back to the bike? How does that? What does that even look like? What's the process?
So I'm glad you phrased it that way, because when you say like coming back to the bike, it's like when people say like, how are you going to get back to where you were, or like what you were, and it's I've already like accepted that I won't be like back to quote unquote normal. But you know, it is going to be like it's going to be a new road here. I haven't rode my bike really since the same. I've done it on my street. I did some, you know, dabblings in the gravel around the campfire time. But for one, like the desire wasn't there to do it, which I've got to deal with myself. But I think just kind of finding, you got to break all the aspects down of it, of cycling, what it is that I liked about it, how to get, because cycling, I mean, as you guys know, you're not just getting like a physical workout, you're getting a mental workout, you're getting one-on-one with nature or whatever, your surroundings, I'll say, maybe not nature. But you're getting so many different aspects. You're getting time to yourself. You're getting like, you know, community. You're getting a lot. So when you take away cycling, it's singular, right? But there's so many things behind that that make it what it is. Like I said, the physical, mental, the time to yourself, all that. So really, to, I know, long-winded answer your question.
No.
It's like me defining what each part of that is and ways to get it elsewhere or from other things, you know. That's why I've been doing I can run. I have no problem with that. I mean, I could say I have a problem with it, but so finding that, I think it's like not holding myself up to that expectation of like, okay, I got to get back into this and I got to hit X amount of miles and I got to do this. It's more of like let's be okay with the way things are now, and let's know that we got a clean slate, and let's look at things a little differently. And you know, I think being okay with that is like the first step.
Well, if I could marry that thought process that you just elaborated on back to what you talked about with the origins of the Outsiders Bike Club, where it wasn't even really about having a bike, and that you started on beach cruisers, just tooling around. You know, I feel like those things, I mean, it just, I'm not trying to be a therapist, but I feel like, you know, going back to that roots is what's going to help and what might get you there.
Totally. And it's something that I didn't really put much, you know, thought into before. We did have an event over the summer where we had everybody together, but I was still kind of through that recovery process there till I really couldn't appreciate it for what it was, and dealing with everything since then. But where I'm at right now, like, and getting there, it was pretty awesome to be around everybody again and back to the core principles of what it is that we're here for.
Yeah. Well, and it's a process that's going to take a long time, and it sounds like you know that. So
you got a good community of friends behind you.
Yeah. So, well, what kind of message would you want to share with anybody else out there that sort of maybe had something like this happen to them? I mean, it could be anything. It could be an interaction with a car. It could be an OTB on a mountain bike into a tree. But, you know, the bike ends up being the catalyst, to lack of a better word, to some sort of traumatic experience. And how do you what would any advice that you could provide to them?
Yeah, I mean, I'm still kind of at that point where I'm open to advice as well. So to give it fully, you know, you got to take that, take it like a recipe, right? You might take a little sprinkle of this and go. But I'd say, you know, everybody's going to say take baby steps, right? With it, don't rush back into trying to be where you were at before, and really understanding the process that you're going through and what your goals are, right? You might not even know them, but you can constantly set the goals and you can constantly, you know, set the bar. And really just trying to obtain that. Like, what are you trying to do here? What are you trying to do by cycling, period?
Right.
And what, like I said, there's different pieces of it, like being outside, time for myself, like all those pieces of the puzzle of cycling.
Right.
Yeah, to find them and then go get them.
Yeah. And it may not, and quite honestly, for some folks, it may not even be the bike.
Totally.
They may have to find the PTSD can be too strong, and maybe they got to find something else. What I heard, let me regurgitate what I heard from you is find out what are those things that the bike, what was the good things for you personally that came out of the bike. And if the bike is not going to be a part of the equation anymore, you need to identify what those good things are and
Yeah.
figure out the right way to get to those good places again, however you can, with or without the bike.
Yeah. That honestly was the hardest part of the recovery process. I mean, I'm in the emergency room bed planning my recovery like there because I'm like, okay, like I got this. I'm gonna come back. And then you're hopped up on all kinds of drugs and medications in there. So that's probably why I'm thinking that way. But as I come through it, I've hit several stages of the recovery, dealing with rib pain, and then head pain, like of just dizziness and constant headaches and stuff like that. And then you kind of feel that way where you're okay with like the head pain and you're learning how to deal with that. And you're like, okay, I should be ready to do these things again. And you're not. And so that's like kind of was a big roadblock for me that I didn't know how to navigate until I really started to dissect all those pieces, like you just said, and figure out how to navigate from there.
Well, continued on that journey. That's the thing. I don't like you said. None of us are ever done with our journey until you're done with your journey.
No,
the journey is
exactly.
always evolving. It's always changing, and you just kind of roll with it.
That's deep.
Deep thoughts. We didn't even get to the scorpion story.
I was about to say, let's get to the buff scorpion here, so we can just lighten the subject up. No, I'm just kidding.
We may have to revisit buff
Part
scorpion. We'll revisit buff scorpion
Swole scorpion.
Swole scorpion at another time because that was quite fascinating.
That's like GTD after hours kind of thing.
Yeah.
Let's come to Campfire next year and hear about swole scorpion.
That's it.
Ask me to tell a story. You might regret it, but
talk about that.
There is a lot of funny little stories that night, but that was it.
Yeah. And then everybody kept coming up with like, what are you talking about over there? And then it would just start all over again. That's got me going so much. I'm coughing. So we're going to have to come back to that one. This or that. You want to stick around? Let's do some this or that.
Yeah.
Let's do some real quick ones. Michael, you're up first. Then I'm going to answer. And then Joey's going to, as usual, muck it all up. Campfire or $1.50?
Ooh,
tough.
I'd say Campfire.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Campfire too. It's just not because I'm in the glow, the glow of the campfire. See what I did there? I am very witty this evening,
I like
Joey.
it.
I'm very witty, and nobody's really picking up on it. So I liked the intimacy of it. I like the smaller setting. Although $1.50, don't get me wrong. Whew, that's a good time. That's a good time. That's a super awesome time, and I would highly recommend it. I'm not going to pick one over the other for you, but for me, the intimacy of Campfire is just right on point. Joey?
Well, I could draw this one out. Yeah, probably similar.
Yeah.
I feel like, that smaller, intimate, the less stress level, even from a participant standpoint. Although even Matt's like staring at it, and he's like, people are lining up right now, right?
It was like 5 minutes before.
Oh my God, that's the best.
Joey and I are walking around over there still in our street clothes. He's going, you got to go line up, right? He's on his little ruckus.
He's like, come on, your megaphone, but you need to get ready. I'm like, trying to put my contacts in. No, but you also, like, if you want to see a lighter side of Matt, too, like, you're not going to hang out with Matt at Croatan.
Right.
Like, he is doing 20,000 things.
Right.
And I can call Matt tomorrow and chit-chat about something, or I see Matt frequently and talk to him. But I think the average person, if you want to see Mr. Rich Supply and have a s'more with him and hear about Swole Scorpion or something, that's what you're going to do. It was fun. It was a mini $1.50 in the best way.
Yeah, all the good things. Second item, 1 order of hash browns or 2 orders of hash browns, even after being warned by the counter staff that it's probably not a good idea. Michael, you still there?
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't know if you were going to me first or
Yeah,
Joey
you're
on
up,
that
you're
one,
up.
since
No.
he's got the experience. I would say none.
there you go. That's an option. I would go with a singular order of hash browns. Joey, what did you decide to do?
Well, she did ask me 3 times.
Especially if they got to warn you.
If they got to warn me, I'm probably not going to get hash browns again.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm going to stick to my, like, double up Pop-Tarts or something.
I went with the 2 sandwiches and the 1 order
I
of
can
hash browns.
imagine
That was perfect.
her ordering that and going into the kitchen like he wants hash browns, and then being like, "You serious?" And he's like, "Double."
Make it a double.
And they're all just like shaking their head, like, "All right."
This kid's going to puke on his bike ride. Like,
By nature. Third item. Michael, you're first. Steak and eggs or chicken and waffles?
I'm gonna go with steak and eggs.
Oh. I'm going to go with chicken and waffles because steak didn't agree with me over the weekend. Joey?
yeah, I'm definitely a chicken and waffles. I actually like, it's called chicken and waffles.
And waffles?
So, yeah, the best chicken and waffles ever that I have ever had came from Easton at Rise Up. The Mad Eggs, their food truck.
Mm.
They had chicken and waffles, and the syrup was like mixed with hot sauce.
Oh.
Damn.
Fancy.
Yeah. I also hate
These up.
eggs.
Yeah, that's right. You don't need it.
I love steak. But chicken and waffles,
Chicken
sweet and savory with a little hot sauce,
Mhm.
syrup.
Yummy.
I had a really good steak with a fried egg on top of it in Portugal, and ever since then I've been like dreaming of it.
Mm.
So
Well,
that's the only
maybe
reason I
maybe
got
we
it.
can get our public steaks like we got the other night next year.
Joey did a
frying egg
fantastic
on top
job.
of that thing.
Yeah, Joey did a fantastic job with the steaks.
Right.
Sticking with our breakfast theme, breakfast burrito or breakfast sandwich?
I'm gonna go with burrito. You
I'd go
just
with-
take it anywhere you want.
Yeah, I can go with the burrito because it's so handy. You stick it in your jersey pocket. You can eat it on the fly. You can have one for dinner like we did tonight.
I would
Joey,
say if you guys would have saw how Brian wrapped his burrito, I don't think you could actually go anywhere with it. That was just a monstrosity.
It worked though. It all got in my gullet.
Yeah.
It all.
At the end of the day, it was all there, but the delivery was
not quite on point.
chorizo potato breakfast burrito.
It was. That's what we had for dinner tonight. Joey always cooks breakfast cooks dinner on
Podcast.
Joey makes me breakfast too sometimes.
I'm going to do you double hash browns next week for you. from
I
the
can send you guys up some from Moonshiners.
I'm okay.
I think we're all okay without that.
I think I'm good with that place once a year, and I check that box in March.
Okay.
Shouldn't have had it in November.
The sandwiches were fine.
But the hospitality of those older, like the old ladies,
Yeah.
they're great.
Yeah. They issued fair warning and you just chose to ignore it.
I definitely wanted to go like heckle them during the cyclocross race. Just to have her slap me, like they're
Barf
great.
on their window and write something on it.
I'll give you your hash browns back, lady. All right, listen, folks, it's about time for us to shut this down. Michael, thank you so much
Yeah, thank
for
you.
joining.
Yeah,
And
thank you guys.
we have teased Swole Scorpion, so we'll have to
Yeah,
have you
I'm
come
down.
back.
Always down. I'd
and-
love to. Anytime, like anything, in any shape or form.
Oh,
All about it.
Can I ask, how is Pat doing?
He's doing good now. He's
Good.
Yeah, he's doing good.
Good.
He's
Good to hear.
glad to be back with the family.
Awesome.
I will say, because we have a lot of rodeo riders,
Mhm.
Michael is a rodeo
Ah,
on this podcast. So
Oh, yeah.
right on. And Larry's looking at the bird.
I started Larry's Thai rodeo today.
Larry wanted one in a 62, wasn't he? Or
Yeah,
60?
really big.
They don't make a 64, Larry's.
Larry's about 5'10" or so. He might stand about 7 feet tall because he's Larry, but no. So I got a couple cool rodeo orders, titanium rodeo orders going right now in the shop. We finished up trail donkeys, so
Steel is real.
titanium.
Yeah. I
Titanium
love
I
is
it.
literally just said titanium. He went steel.
Titanium is steel.
I mean, it's like the Mike and Michael thing, right?
Yeah.
They like to be called Michael.
Titanium is
Mike.
steel.
Or Mike McMahon metal. What is his
Must ride metal.
Mike? Must mud red. I think.
We'll let it
Did
go
you know
on
that Pat McMahon's dad is a normal customer of mine?
No.
Yeah, Yeah.
I see
Mike.
about 3 times a week.
Yeah,
Give it a shot.
Oh,
Mike's good
nice.
people.
Love that family.
Yeah, me
Mike's,
too.
Mike's good people. Okay, thanks everybody for listening to this episode of Mid-Atlantic Gravel Traveling the Dirt. If you've enjoyed the podcast, maybe consider joining our dwindling Patreon family. We really do appreciate the support that you give us there, even though we don't show it, but we really do appreciate it.
Yeah.
Joey, how can folks get in touch with us?
Well, I had a lot of people touch me at Campfire in a good way.
Inappropriately?
Not inappropriately. Not at the bar or wherever we were the other day. Diner. But yeah, you can come to events.
Threw you off?
It threw me off.
Contact us, yes.
If you're on dial-up, www.graveltraveldirt.com. Our Instagram is at MidAtlanticGTD. If you want to catch Michael and the Outsiders, you want to give your handles and stuff?
Yeah, so Outsiders Bicycle Club on Instagram, or myself, Black Metal Bike.
Right on.
That's it.
Mid-Atlantic Gravel Traveling and Dirt is recorded this week from right here in Blake's Kitchen all the way down to Beaufort. Oh,
That's right.
got
it right.
I got it. I did it. I got it right.
Nailed it.
Thanks for riding along. Till next time, do good, be nice, go slow, respect others.
Love you, bye.
Love you, bye.